So today we're going to be talking about how to use your client avatar to create the perfect client journey and service for your business. It's not just going to be about in-person training, this is going to be about online training as well, and hybrid, so mixing of both. First of all, for those that don't know me, my name is Burleigh. I run a company called the Online Personal Training Certification and PT Ninja. We specialise in helping personal trainers build, launch and grow successful online fitness businesses, specifically using PT Distinction, but we can also work with other softwares as well. To give you a little bit of background on me, I'm a coach by trade. I had a couple of studios years and years ago that we sold to a friend of mine, then went online, had a successful online business, and then found PT Distinction, which is the software that we specialise in. Started using that software, and eventually, as I was using it, I started helping out people in their Facebook group, and their owners very quickly realised that I was better at it than what they were at using it, and they decided to bring me on doing some support for them, running masterclasses, done for you services and things like that. And our kind of business grew out of that service that we offered. As we were doing these done for you services, literally helping trainers set up their systems for their business online, we started seeing patterns and data that came through around what made a successful online business and what didn't make a successful online business. And from that, we created a course called the Online Personal Training Certification. The whole idea of that course is to use that data to help you understand how to put together the systems and processes to be successful online. And that's basically my background in a nutshell. Now, the OPTC is all about taking action. What I don't want to happen today is just me talk for 50 minutes and then you go, away, that's great information, and don't really do anything with it. So I want you to go and take action today. So as we go through this, I'll be asking you questions, trying to dig into a bit more about where you're at with your businesses at the moment. And hopefully you're going to have some action steps to go away with this too. And I'll be trying to find out what kind of key takeaways you're going to have at the end of this as well. So first of all, let's talk about the client journey. Has anyone here heard of the client journey before? I'm guessing they have done. Customer journey, client journey, different things like that. It's basically just a process that somebody who finds out who your business is, they go through the entire process, they start working with you, and they kind of come out the other end of it. And that's what I want to talk a bit about today. And I think we need to understand this client journey first before we can understand how we can use our avatar to influence it. So I don't know if you can see this or not. I know it's quite small in terms of writing. But this here is the client journey that we teach over at the OPTC. It starts down here in this bottom corner, which is the awareness section. Now, this awareness section is just literally about somebody finding out that you actually exist within your business. Once they find that you exist and become aware of what you're doing and become interested, that's when you start to engage with them, or they start to engage with you. So at that stage here, they're starting to understand what your business is about, and you start to drive traffic to your business. Next stage is the subscribe, follow stage. This is where they're now really interested in what you're talking about. They might download a lead magnet, they might book a call with you, start having conversations with you, might join your newsletter, that kind of thing. We then move on to convert. So this is where your first sale is going to be with this particular client. So this might be your front end offer, it might be a flagship program, it could be a 28-day challenge that they was talking about earlier on, anything along those lines. Once you've converted them, they've made that small investment into your business. What we're going to then do is excite them. The whole idea here is to go through the onboarding process, to get them excited about that initial purchase, with an aim to try and get them to invest more into you, which brings on to this next stage here. Because the overall aim of any business is to get them to continue paying you money for as long as possible. That's what we're trying to do here. So the invest stage is what comes up next. After that, we then have the champion stage. So this is where we want to try and encourage our clients to keep talking about us with their peers, so it starts attracting more people into your business. Then we move on to promote stage over here at the end. This is where you'll start creating partnerships, or maybe doing affiliate programs with clients or other businesses as well. What I want to quickly do is just run through each of these stages. I want you guys to tell us very easily whether you actually have systems and processes and KPIs in place for these. So what I mean by that is not do you just do it whenever you feel like it. Do you actually have a specific system written down and a way of tracking to make sure it's actually working for you in your business? And we'll just do it with a simple show of hands. So who here has systems for awareness? This is the idea that you're trying to get people attracted into your business. Who here has it? Cool, awesome. What about the engagement stage? So you've made somebody aware of your business. Do you have a system and process in place to engage with them after you've done that? Show hands, cool. The subscribe stage. So once you've gone through that engagement, how do you get them to subscribe? Do you have a system and process and things in place for that? So again, show of hands. Like lead magnets, yeah, you one at the back. Just keep your hand up for the whole time. Convert stage, so how do you then convert them from somebody that's got into your lead magnets or whatever it is? Do you have a process in place, systems, scripts, whatever it is, to convert them into a paying client? So again, show of hands if you got it. A couple of nods. After they've actually then converted into your program, I imagine most people have this, I'm hoping. So this is when someone's converted into your main program. Do you have a process of deliverables? So do you have things that are going to happen in that program to make sure they have the best experience possible so that you can then start making offers to them to invest in something else? Got hands again? Cool. And then we go on to the invest stage. Do you have a process in place to make sure they upsell? So when people come into your front-end offer, do you have something to make sure they go into the back-end offer, systems and things to measure? And then champion stage, do you ask for referrals, testimonials, that kind of thing, and actually have an automated process for that? Cool. And then promote stage, do you have affiliate programs, or do you start doing deals with other businesses, partnerships and things like that? Okay, a couple of nods at the back anyway for all of those. So that whole process there is your client journey. And I really think every business needs to have systems, processes and KPIs in place for every single stage of that journey. If you're missing one stage, it's going to become very difficult, and that's where your bottlenecks start to be. So it's really important, as we're talking about at the very start today, to have those systems in place to make sure that journey works smoothly for your business. And the easiest way to do that is to actually understand your ideal client avatar. So before I jump into that, I want to talk about avatar versus niche. Does everyone know the difference between an avatar and a niche? Yeah? Hey, you do. Cool. What's the difference between an avatar and a niche?
What?
What's the difference?
So the avatar is one specific person, whereas the niche is like a blanket statement for who you serve. Awesome.
Perfect. So let's try and go through these questions here just quickly with everyone in here. So let's start off with what's everyone's niche? Who is an avatar within their niche? And then I want you to answer with this one as well, which a lot of people do struggle with sometimes, is what is the actual problem you solve for that person? So do you want to, we'll start with you since you're here, since you said it. So who's your niche?
So our niche is women in their late 30s and 40s who want to lose weight. The avatar is a woman who works full-time, has 3 kids. We'll say her name is Becky, and she feels like she's lost herself with everything, and so she just is overwhelmed, short on time, and is concerned that her husband isn't as attracted to her anymore, and so she just needs help. She's tried everything. She has done keto. She's done, South Beach, all of those things. And she has the drive to do it, but she just needs the support and the accountability and the guidance.
Cool, awesome.
I work with over 30s. Avatar, most of mine are mums, a couple of kids, don't have time for themselves. This is them getting their time back for themselves or getting fit, joining the community.
Cool.
For me, it's like guys between 20, 30 years old who want to get into a decent shape, like get six-pack and stuff. So actually, this is like main target actually.
Okay, cool. Yours?
So male, female, over the age of 35, 40 plus, works corporate background, desk rider, short on time, doesn't know where to begin, just looking to not getting, like bodybuilding shape, but like just look and feel better on a daily basis.
Cool.
The niche is building strength, energy and confidence. When it comes to avatar, again 30 to 50, who are lost in terms of all the information, and I'm here to probably support, get them stronger, confident.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, hi there. So my niche is very much people who are busy professionals, might have kids, short on time. So how that person would be an avatar, but very much so busy that they don't have time to think about putting that program, etc. together. And so the problem that I solve for them is that I take that pressure away from them without them having to think about it. They just have to, do everything that they've been instructed to do by themselves.
Cool, perfect.
Over male, female, over 25s who lack confidence in going to a gym environment and building up their mental state on this kind of side of things. Because majority of my clients are parents in their own gym, just behind the kids because they lack time. So they just want to work on themselves, but they don't struggle with babysitters. So we think that works really well.
Perfect.
My avatar niche is a bit different actually. I come from martial arts background. And we're looking to expand the services we offer. And no one's about my avatar, I've not bought that yet.
Okay.
So I'm just like putting the foundation really.
Cool, sounds good. Awesome. Well, hopefully this might help a little bit. We're going to dig into it a little bit. And okay.
Yeah, so golfers for me, 30 plus really, generally people who don't really associate golf and fitness together, so it's golf fitness coaching. So people who are frustrated about plateauing in their golf game, generally revolves around injuries, so recovery prevention, flexibility and mobility issues, moving into strength and power. So basically people who don't really, as I said, they don't really associate the golf with the fitness side, so it's bringing those two worlds together to help them be better golfers.
Become better golfers. Cool, awesome. Yeah, it is a big market. We've got a couple of clients who's gone online for that side of stuff, and it's a huge market to get into. It's a good one if you can get it. It really is. Cool. So what I want to do now is look in a bit more detail about that client avatar. You all kind of have a niche that you're working in. Some avatars a bit more detailed than others. What I want to try and do is break down an avatar within that niche. You can have multiple avatars within a niche that you want to work with. In fact, you are going to have multiple avatars. Even if you feel that you focus on one very specific avatar, as your business progresses, that's going to change. And as your offers progress. So say, for example, if you're talking earlier on, you have a 28-day challenge, you're attracting a particular type of avatar into that. Well, the whole point of anything you offer to your clients is a transformation. You're trying to move them from point A to point B. That's what they pay you for. You're solving a problem. So if you put them through a front-end offer at some point, you're starting to solve a problem, which means when they join your offer at the start, that's a different avatar to the person at the end of that, your front-end offer. So when you're then making offers for your back end, your avatar is actually slightly different. So therefore your offers need to be slightly different. You need to start thinking a bit more about how you're going to change that to make sure you convert more people. And that's what I want to start breaking down here. So I want to start looking at the avatar itself, and we're going to start with a simple one. This is what most people do for their avatars when they start off with. They do these basic demographics and interests. Dead simple on here: age, occupation, education level, location, income, marital status. People spend a lot of time focusing on this. It doesn't really matter too much. It's not that important. All this here really is to help give you some level of reference when you're thinking about your avatar. And the beauty about using an avatar more than just thinking about a niche. So for anyone here that said, I'm working with 30 to 40-year-olds, it's very difficult to have a conversation in your head with somebody who's imaginary, who's 30 and 40, because no one's 30 and 40. So the best way to try and think about anything we talk about with an avatar is imagine it's the person sat in front of you and you're interviewing that person. And if you can imagine you're interviewing a person, they're only going to have one age. They're only going to have one income at that time you're interviewing them. And that's how we start thinking about your avatar as we go through this. So chuck an age on the occupation, whatever education level they're going to be, whatever the location is going to be. That can be obviously important if you run a gym or a studio, because that's going to matter. And then in terms of income, that's going to have some level of importance as well, because of what price point you want to do, what your goals are for your business. And marriage status, again, can have some income importance too, because you might have other decision makers and things like that in there. Then what we tend to do is break it down to these two sections here, which is what do they read, what are they actually interested in, what brands are important to them. This is a relatively important thing to do. This is where a lot of people tend to stop when they're doing their avatar work. So if we think about what stuff they read, start thinking about where do they spend their time, where do they spend their attention. I don't mean what books they necessarily read, what magazines do they read, what forums do they read, do they watch YouTube channels, what kind of things they're actually interested in on that. And then over here we have interesting brands. I think this is relatively important, because if you can understand the brands that they're interested in, you can start seeing what's important to them, and you can then utilize that in your own marketing. Now I'm going to give you an example of this, and it's going to be a bit easy to read, but as we go through this, they might get smaller, so I apologize if it does get too small. I'm going to give you an example here of how a front-end avatar. So this is somebody that comes to the online personal training certification, and this is who we target. And this is just one of our avatars. We have multiple avatars. So you can see here the average age is 37, occupation is personal training, it's college level education, live in London, 28,000 take home after taxes and everything else, and they have a partner. And then we start looking at what things they read. It might be John Goodman books, like classic business books. They might read the Institute of Personal Trainers blog, for example. They might look at the OTA blog, they might go on the PM blog, maybe interested in someone like James Clear in terms of books. So I'm starting to dig down a little bit in the things they might be interested in. We then look at the interesting brands. We can start seeing what kind of brands they might be interested in, where they hang out, who they actually respect, who they look up to. So again, like PM, for example, the PTDC, the OTA blog sites. I want to start understanding who they actually pay attention to, who they actually look up to, who they want to take advice from. And that's really going to help influence what we do with our client journey. We then start digging into things a little bit more with these demographics. We start looking at like the events and conferences they might attend. So what places do they actually go to? And the easiest way to do this, again, is to give you an example of what we have for our avatar. So the way I normally do this, and this is what I recommend you guys would do as well, is start off with just some general headings. So they might go to events around personal training and fitness, around online business, digital marketing, entrepreneurship, health and wellness, technology and fitness, work-life balance, that kind of thing. Once you've actually got your headlines down, write down a quick description of what those things are actually about, what they're doing to help that particular person, and then start pulling out some examples. What are the actual events, actual places they go to, specifically what they actually go to? And it really to start help you understand exactly who this type of client is. Then we start looking at where they actually find their information. So again, I'll use an example for us. So on here, we're going to think about our avatar, think about where they go to find the information that's important to them. And again, we can start listing these things out as well. So we know they go to social media platforms. Okay, that's good. What kind of social media platforms are they actually going to? Which ones do they actually hang out on? So for example, if you're running Meta ads, but they don't hang around on Facebook, Instagram, it's an absolute waste of money. So you might as well focus your ads somewhere else. So start breaking that down. And you can go even further than this if you want to. You can actually dig into, if it's Facebook, for example, do they go on certain groups? What kind of things are they actually interested in? Where are they actually spending their time and their attention? We're going to move on to professional associations. Who are they actually associated with? Because again, understanding these here allows you to figure out where you can actually go to give information, what things to talk about, what things to reference to. Is word of mouth a thing that your clients want to get involved with? Like, are they influenced by it? Are they influenced by somebody who works for, and for example, AJ Morton, who runs a Facebook group? Are they influenced by decisions that he makes in terms of who they go to with mentorship programs and things like that for us? So we make sure we have a good relationship with AJ Morton, for example. They're the kind of things you want to start looking at. Again, search engines, what are they actually using when it comes to search engines? What kind of online advertising do they seem to be interested in? So what things do they actually download and do? So for example, it might be Facebook ads, free guides might be something they're interested in. So for example, in our business, necessarily Meta ads aren't that good for us, but we have things like double opt-ins that are really powerful for us online. So we try and look at our avatar and try and think what's working well for them, and that's what we focus our energy into. And again, you have gurus. I don't really like the word guru, but I think it's an important thing to understand. Really, who do they specifically look up to? Who are they interested in listening to? And then start building relationships with them. After you've got to that point, this is where you've really got to start digging deeper. And again, this is what I think so many people don't actually do, and I think it's an important element of your avatar. And I think if you don't do these next few stages, it's very difficult to build out your client journey and making sure it's right. So these are the kind of questions I want you to take time to ask yourself about. Imagine you've got your avatar that you've just put together, sat in front of you. I want you to interview them with these questions. Obviously, they're completely imaginary, but interview them with these questions. So what keeps them up at night? What annoys them and frustrates them? What are the big, small challenges they face every day? Who and what is in the way of their success and happiness? What are some key systems in their life or job that frequently fail? So what things are actually holding them back from achieving what they want to achieve? What are things they're actually forced to interact with that make it difficult for them to manage or understand? So, for example, misinformation, you get, especially in the fitness world. And what kind of features or lack of features do they regularly complain about in related services or products? So if you know there's someone in your local area that has an inferior product to you, why is it inferior? You can use that to then learn and then improve your own services. So again, I know it's small writing here. I'm not going to go through each one of these, don't worry. But it just gives you an example of what we do. So this is the detail we kind of break things down into bullet points for our avatar. So we can really understand what's important to our avatars, so we can make sure that we develop a product that's right for them, but also make sure we market it in a way and give them support in the way that we feel they need it. Once you've got your fears out the way, you can start looking at wants and aspirations, so the other side of this one. So again, start asking these questions. What do they actually want for themselves? What do they want for the people around them? What do they actually aspire to be? What are some of the goals that they set for themselves? What values do they hold dear? And this is my favourite one. What are their secret desires? Everybody here has secret desires that they don't tell people about. It's your job to understand what those secret desires are. You've got to try and work out what's actually important to them that they might not talk about in public and start really digging deep into it. And again, we can do exactly the same on here. We've done exactly the same with our business. We break all these down. And the way I tend to break this section down here is to give some little titles about what's important and just elaborate a bit more on each one of those as we go through it. Once you've actually got those 2 points, you can then start looking at these key purchase drivers. So these are the things that are going to be important for your client to make a buying decision and buy into your different services. So on here, we want to start looking at what are the must-have features. If you've identified where the problems are for your competitors, you can start thinking about what these must-have features are for your actual business. What are the known deal killers? What are the expectations of the service to make sure you're going to meet that all the time? What are the common objections that are going to come up for them? What are the price purchase considerations, and who are the additional stakeholder decision makers? So for example, they might have partners. If you're working in corporate, there might be other people they have to go and speak to first, and so on. And again, with our business, you can see we've broken that down into each section to see what's actually we need to address when we're putting offers together for our clients or for our leads. Once you broke that down, we then have what's called before state and after state. Now this is going to change quite a lot depending on what it is you're offering to your client. The before state is what state is your avatar in before they purchase your service, and the after state is the opposite, what they're going to be like after they've actually purchased your service. So if we're talking about a front-end offer, what's it before the front-end offer, what's it after the front-end offer? And then if we're talking about a back-end offer, whatever's appeared after your front-end offer has now become the before state for your back-end offer. And again, we can start breaking this down here. So we want to start looking at things like what do they actually have before they've actually started working with you? What's their average day like? Literally describe the day. What is their worst day that they're going through because they haven't worked with you yet? We then move on to the feeling. How do they actually feel? What's their emotional state before they actually work with you? And then we're going to look at their status. How do they feel other people perceive them? Status is such a powerful driver when it comes to sales. A lot of people underestimate how powerful it actually is, but the more you understand about how they feel, others feel about them, the easier it is to actually make that sale. And then we're going to move on to good versus evil. What are their actual core beliefs or things that are holding them back from actually achieving what they want to achieve? And of course, we go on to the after state, which is the complete opposite of this process. So here we're going to talk about, again, the opposite of what they have is what are they going to have after they've actually completed your service. So they sign up to your programs, whatever it is, what are they actually going to have after that? How are they going to feel after that? What's their status going to be like after that? And what is their average day going to be like once they've actually finished working with you? And again, we have our example here from our avatar for our OPTC business. Now, once you've actually got your avatar all built out and you've got those details together, we can start applying that to our client journey. And it makes this whole process a lot easier. So when we go back to this here, if we just have a quick recap of what these things are on here, it's very difficult sometimes to look at this and go, what do I need to do in order to make the client aware of our service? So where do I need to go to? Where do I need to go and hang out? Do I need to go and run ads? Where do I need to go and run those ads? What do I need to go include in it? That avatar will give you all those answers very, very quickly. Same for the engagement. How are you going to engage? What's important to them? What things do they need to hear in your engagement with them that's going to then convert them to a point where they want to subscribe and find out more about you? When they subscribe and find out more about you, what things do you need to do? What do you need to give them? What are they actually interested in? What conversations do you actually need to go and have? And then how are you then going to convert them? For example, the sales scripts we talked about, what do you need to mention in those sales scripts? What's the process you have to go through? Do you have to have sales calls? Or do you need to use sales pages? Do you have to do it that particular way? Because there are literally clients out there, we talked about sales calls earlier, but we've got a lot of data at the moment where people just don't want them. Sometimes they just will not pick up the phone and they will just not do it. And if your avatar is that person, you've identified that, you then to change your sales process. It means you can't do maybe a quick one where you run an ad to give some information, to give them a call. That might not work for the avatar you want to work with. So you need to change that in the process. Okay, we need to nurture this person, we run an ad. Do we have some kind of lead magnet? Do we nurture them from an email sequence? Do we move them on to something else? And so on. So it's important to start identifying these things. And you can do that through doing your avatar and make sure you're not wasting money on things that it could be better spent elsewhere. We go for the excite. What's your actual process going to be? Those key purchase drivers we talked about will help us decide on exactly what we need to include in our program. And remember, this bit here, it's not just about what they need in the program to get the best results. It's about what they need in the program to get the best results for your business. So we need to include things in there that allow stuff like future pacing. They need to understand that they're going to go somewhere else after. A bit like Neil was saying earlier on, you need to set it up so that actually this is a 12-month program. I might be selling you a 28-day program now, but we're talking 12 months into the future here. So you need to future pace people when you're doing this. In the investment thing, what's the next thing they want to do? And is it just investments into your back-end offer, or is the other things that you can offer them as well? Are there challenges you can offer them? Are there products you can offer them? Is there merchandise you can offer them? Champion, are there going to be people that are going to want to talk about it? Now, it sounds pretty obvious that you think, well, I might ask for testimonials, but sometimes, if depending what you're working with, if you're working with a particular niche or market, they might not want to talk about it. Maybe if you're talking about men with low testosterone, you want to go and help them in that online environment, you're probably not going to get them talking openly in a Facebook group and recommend to other people. It might take a long time to get into that stage. So in that case, do you do referrals? It's something else you can offer instead. It's making sure you're not doing something that's not in line with your avatar and what they want. And then promote. What partnerships can you start creating with other people in order to start promoting your services a lot more? And again, just to give you some examples of what that might look like. This here, again, is hours for the OPTC. You can see down here our awareness stage. We have social posting that's specific to our avatar. So it's very specific about the problems that they have and how we can help solve that. We do something called follow, like, engage, which helps encourage the engagement onto the next stage. This is the process we teach in the course. We have partnerships. For example, we have partnerships with Dave and Lead Deck. We have partnerships with Peter Distinction. We have partnerships with John Goodman. We have partnerships with AJ Morton. Like, all these partnerships are key for us because people trust them. So there's trust by association, just by having those partnerships with people. And of course, you have paid ads to make people aware of your business and how it exists. And those paid ads, in that case, you can decide on where's the best place to do it. For us, it's not Facebook. For us, it's YouTube. So it's just about understanding your avatar and what's going to work best for you. Again, next stage would be your engagement. So the social engagement. What are the actual process you're going to do to engage with people? We literally have scripts that are laid out based for our avatar, so we can actually have conversations with people and help encourage that engagement. Warm outreach, partnership events, just like this one. Partnerships events, and then we have retargeting ads as well. And then we want them to go and join our socials. So a lot of our clients hang around on Facebook, so we use a Facebook group to get started off. So we try and bring people into our Facebook group, and we have a system for nurturing them. And then get them to follow my socials or join our newsletter. And of course, we then have the convert stage where we try and convert them into our OPTC program, so our main front-end offer. And kind of like what Neil was saying earlier on, you can talk about this next step you're going to. We also offer that straight away. So instantaneously, as soon as we actually have that offer for the OPTC, we go for the upsell. Because we know our clients generally like that, and most people do. Most people buy our purchase, our first program, and within 2-3 minutes, they've then purchased our next program. And that's just part of the process because we know for our avatar what we need to go through in order to make sure that happens. The Excite phase then, we look at the onboarding process and the core. We have a private community we get them involved into. We have a check-in process and roundup process as well when they come to the end of the programs with us. And then we also look at future pacing. So what are those key elements throughout that program that are going to make sure our client who runs from this program is going to then continue working with us for the long term. What we're going to invest them into, we have a process for gold upsells, which is our next level up. We include that for people that didn't take it straight away or didn't go into our back-end offer. We also have the Academy Pro Mentorship Program as well, which we can offer to people too once they've gone through it. And then later on down the line, we ask for testimonials, ask for reviews, and then we use these as part of the awareness stage, and we have a process that does all that completely automatically. And of course, we then have affiliate and partnership programs that we've offered to certain clients, not everybody, only certain clients, or we do it with our partnerships, so for example, like Dave and Lead Deck in there. Hit the button on that one. There you go. And just to give you a quick example of what that might look like for a fitness business, this is an online fitness business that I brought up on here. You can see it's very, very similar. It doesn't have to change too much. So you go for the same process for your outreach at the bottom and your awareness, your engagement. You can get to join your social groups from there. And then you'll have your front-end offer up at the top with an upsell into your back-end offer pretty much straight away. You have the onboarding process. You can see it's very, very similar again. Again, going into the investment side of it, you're going to offer your back-end offer subscription, maybe more community focused, if that's what suits your avatar. And then you might offer one-to-one coaching on top of that. You might have product upsells. Again, it all has to be based around what's going to suit your avatar. Asking for reviews and testimonials. Again, the importance of automations within that and systems within that. And then again, having affiliate programs on there. And this process here, we've actually seen work for probably about 80 to 85% of all online businesses. If you follow this process, it generally works. You just have to tweak and adapt it to suit your avatar. And in reality, a similar kind of process works for an in-person business. It works for studios as well. The other important thing to remember about this, it doesn't have to take long. One thing I will say is for online businesses, it can take a bit longer to go through this process. For in-person stuff, especially if you're doing phone calls and things like that, you can go through this very, very quickly. If you think about the ad process and making a phone call to somebody, you run an ad, the awareness stage, you have a follow-up straight away with them, you give them a quick call, you either get them to come and subscribe to your newsletter or whatever you're doing from there, and you sell them into your program pretty much straight away. Those first 4 things can be done within 5 minutes of an ad being run and someone clicking on it. Online, if you're doing things like sales pages, landing pages and things like that, that process might take a bit longer. Again, it's all going to come down to your avatar and what's going to work for them in terms of converting it. There you go. Has anyone got any questions on that one? I think we're in time. Yeah, anyone got any questions?
Not a question as such, but I just want to give a flash of shout out because I've been in the PTD Ninja community for a couple of years. You mentioned John Goodman there, so I did the OTA through John, and he was running it was like your first month free or something in the PTD section at the time. Signed up to that, loved it, tried Trainerize and all of the other ones. Fell in love with PTD really. Then just through that community, just learned about you and what you guys are doing at the Ninja side of things, and it's honestly been an absolute game changer for me, who's not techie. I'm not, the online world was forced upon me, obviously, many people through COVID, so I was a complete newbie in it, and just the way the guys take you through it and build everything out for you, it really is absolutely top notch. So if you're in the online world and you want to step up your game, he's your man.
I appreciate it, mate. Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you. Always nice.
You didn't say that either.
I'll slap you 20 quid away you go out. Cool. Is there anyone else got any other questions at all? No? Have some key takeaways. Are you taking anything away from this one? One key takeaway from this thing we've talked through here. One key takeaway.